Today we are talking about what you want to know before you put your home on the market, as far as preparing your house goes. So how to prepare your home to list it with a real estate agent here in Oregon, because spring is just right around the corner. We're right about there, early March at the time of filming this at least. And I know a lot of people are waiting for spring or summer to get their home on the market. So if that's you, be sure to listen all the way through today. You're not going to want to miss anything. And also, before we start, this introduction is getting really long. But before we start with the tips, if you're new here, welcome. We're so glad you're here. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Spencer.
And we are a husband and wife real estate team here in Oregon. And we get calls, texts, and emails from people like you that are watching our YouTube videos all the time. And we absolutely love it. So if you are thinking about buying or selling real estate, feel free to reach out. I'll put our contact information below.
Doesn't this question just sneak in on most listing appointments? Do you remember sellers doing that to you? They just sneak it in hey, Spence, what do I got to do to get my home ready to sell in a week?
Everyone wants to know.
Everybody wants to know.
The big question.
And so me being the realtor, the professional that sells houses, right, and knowing what buyers like to see, I can give them what my opinion is, bird eye view, and really go through every room with them. But ultimately, what I love to do is actually outsource that job as well. Have you ever come up with that reply?
What do you mean outsource that job?
I'll outsource it to my designer, my stager, my home decorator.
Yeah, but there's things they can do before we get to that point.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're kind of going to talk about.
But that's a sneaky question, though. My whole point is, because, for instance, everybody has that hutch in their house that their great-grandma passed down. But, not everybody likes a hutch, right? So what if I went over to your house and you say, Spence, any adjustments, any things I can do, anything I can take out of the house, maybe start in the garage while we have the home for sale? And sometimes I say, yeah, let's remove that, let's do that. And then some people, they've given me this creaky face, and I'm like, what did I say? What happened? You like this item? I mean, what? And there's always this emotional attachment to certain items. And so that's what does make it more difficult for me, at least, telling you to remove big pieces of furniture or just furniture in general. Now, there are some things. What my key things are: space. I want space. Yeah. And if we're getting into smaller square footage and not a lot of space because it's full of stuff, well, that's pretty common sense to me. It says, we need to just declutter. That's key to get more space. If I say declutter, that just means let's remove some items from the home, whether that's wall frames, whether that's more bulky furniture, too many chairs at the table, that type of thing.
Definitely. So something that I thought of that I actually noticed because I was driving into our house. Yeah, it was yesterday.
Our house? like the one I'm in right now?
Yes.
Okay.
I was about to pull into the garage, and I noticed at the bottom of our garage door, there's a little bit of mud that I've never noticed before. I don't know if that's new, but I've never noticed it. So that's something. Clean your garage doors before you put your house on the market.
Pressure wash your exterior.
Pressure wash.
That's through just pressure washing.
Yes, the whole exterior. A lot of times homes can get, if the exterior hasn't been touched in a while, there can be cobwebs by the front door or just outside the house. Moss on the sidewalk or the walkway. Just pressure washing. It's simple, but it can make a really big difference. So get the exterior, get the garage door, the front door, the walkway, get all of that nice and clean.
The reason I really like that point, though, is everybody has a first impression, right? And you can never get a first impression back. That usually starts in the driveway. When I open the door, what do I look at? Usually a garage door. When I open the door, what do I see? I see windows, and then the front door, and then the walkway to the front door. So all of these first impressions are huge, and this is all before they've even been in your home, seen your home. So if we can get that glam right away, that instant reaction, I think that's going to make you more successful and a winner.
Yep. Okay, so this is what I always tell clients. Before you put your house on the market is the best time to do a good spring decluttering, or it doesn't have to be spring.
And this can be any time of the year.
You can list your house any time of the year. I don't believe that it's not a good thing to list your house.
Statistically, we'll have a conversation if you don't believe us. So.
Yes. So, but anyway, but because we're talking about spring, because that's where we're at right now, it's the best time to do some decluttering. I know for us, anytime we have listed one of our homes that we've lived in, afterwards, after I go through and do this decluttering, I'm like, I don't want to move anymore because you just the house looks that much better. So here's what I suggest for you is go through the house with 3 trash bags. One is for giving away or just donating, just throwing away whatever you're going to do with it.
Okay.
And then the second is for selling. If you sell things, some people don't, but if you sell things for me, that would look like selling at clothes I want to sell at a consignment shop or furniture maybe that you want to put on Facebook Marketplace. And then the third is for putting away for later. So you don't need to have, if there's something that you don't use on a daily or weekly basis, my suggestion is always before you put your home on the market, if you've made your mind up, you're going to be moving regardless. Maybe not a garbage bag for those things, but pack them up in boxes and put them in the attic, in your garage. If you don't have those things, we've seen sellers take just one spare bedroom and we won't get listing photos of that room and just fill it with the boxes because the rest of your house is going to show so much better. You're moving anyway. So now's the time to get rid of it if you don't want to take it with you, sell it, donate it, or put it away in another room for later, and your house is going to show.
You mentioned though, like where do you store all of your clutter or your boxes when your home is for sale? And sellers, they for whatever reason have this anxiety at times of like, I just can't fill my garage. I don't want to fill my garage. I'm like, why not? Nobody really cares about the garage. Garage is a storage place, and to make sure we understand the dimensions. So if they want to park in the garage, they totally can. Fill it up.
Let me tell you, whenever I show a house, more often than not, when the house looks great, like, oh, they did a great job getting it ready to sell. It feels great in here. 99% of the time you open the garage and that's where all the stuff's at. So it is like, I'm talking like floor to ceiling boxes. That's normal. Yeah. Don't feel bad if that's how your garage looks when your house is on the market. As realtors, we would way prefer that your house looks like that instead of more of the clutter in your house. The listing photos are going to look so much better. It's going to feel better for showings. Buyers will be able to imagine themselves in the home so much easier. So
be aware it's okay to use your garage.
Yes, please do if you have one. And then, like I said, if you don't have a garage, just if you have a spare bedroom, that's a great option. So, okay, landscaping and curb appeal. The exterior photos, when a buyer is looking at a home on the multiple listing services or wherever they're looking at it on, the exterior photos are the first impression. It's the first thing they're going to see. And I know from experience, a lot of times, if buyers don't like those first photos of the outside of the home, then they're not even going to get to the inside. They're just going to scroll past it to the next house. So you really want to make sure that it is a good impression. And that doesn't mean that you have to go out and spend all this money. You don't have to go give your house a new paint job or new siding. Really just like decluttering and cleaning up. And that's staying with the exterior makes such a difference.
Right.
Okay?
Mow the yard if you got a weed eater. Just weed eat the edges. Now, say you're not into weeding. That means your flower beds has like grass, weeds in it, whatever else. What I do, I'm a cheater. I'm going to weed eat those items. I'm not actually going to pick them by hand because think about it, you're moving in 30 days. So that's on the new owner to continue on your current landscaping. Get a metal hoe and just stir up the dirt. If you don't want to bring in new bark dust or something, make the dirt fresh looking, and that's all that matters. But if you are just so overgrown, let's get it down and chopped at least, and not just a foot high. That's what we're looking for when it comes to landscaping, and that's where your professional us is going to be open and honest with you of things you need to actually do, rather than wasting time going overboard and just putting yourself through HE double hockey sticks at times. Yeah. Because I've seen it. Sellers, they just stress about the wrong things, and that's where we come in. We say, hey, I don't think you need to spend this 4 hours in this area. Let's move on and go somewhere else and get your house ready to sell in this category.
Get moss off your roof.
That's a good one.
Simple.
Yeah, it's very simple. And all of this stuff simply can be sweat equity, as we like to call it. Believe it or not, if you want a certain value of your home, it might want to appear it's worth that much. Yeah. So that's all we're trying to elaborate and say. And this is all things you can do. Yep. I don't need to hire a professional plumber to come in and do my roof. Okay. You can simply go on to do the roof and get a scraper, a metal wire brush, and scrape that moss off on all those creases. And then after you do that, you're going to go and buy some moss killer. And it's just that white powder stuff you see sprinkled on roofs before a good rain. Sprinkle it on all your edges. That's going to take care of your moss in the future. But also, when your showing takes place and happens, they can't really complain about it. Yeah. It's been treated. Can't show up on an inspection either.
So my biggest tip at the end of the day, the big takeaway here is don't feel like you need to go overboard. You don't need to go through. And I mean, there are certain instances when I think, for example, fresh paint, especially in the interior, the inside of the home can go a long way. Like if your walls are just not doing good, then go get some fresh paint. That's a fairly inexpensive thing that can make a big difference. Or if, let's just say one of the bedrooms is lime green, maybe it's a good idea to just paint it before, let it match the rest of the house. Because I have seen buyers, like literally just not a few months ago, I had buyers who they loved this house, and that was like a deal breaker to them was the paint color in one of the kids' bedrooms. I'm like, you know how cheap paint is, but didn't want to do anything before moving in. So maybe there's exceptions, but for the most part, I would really focus on decluttering and cleaning and just having everything, just keep it simple. It doesn't have to be, I mean, I wouldn't recommend putting a bunch of money in, for the most part. Every circumstance is different, but I generally wouldn't recommend putting in a ton of money in most cases when just the decluttering and a good deep cleaning is probably going to do the job for most houses. We can come out there and give you our advice, but something I've always done personally before, anytime we've listed one of our houses that we've lived in, was right before we put it on the market, like the day before, I will have a professional cleaner come out and do just like the best deep cleaning ever. And then during the time that the house has been on the market, obviously we have to continually keep it up, but that really has just been helpful to make it like so sparkling clean right before listing photos, and then it makes the upkeep a little easier while it's on the market. But that's just I don't know, that's my advice. So
all these things are very simple, and I want to reiterate, don't feel like you need to go out and spend money to get your home on the market. Yes, there are some cases we do need to maybe pay for a steam cleaner, okay? Because I've seen it. There are cases where we do need to put a coat or a can of paint on the walls. But then all the rest, we really need to assess and say, okay, well, this is our sales price. This is what realistically it could sell for in this condition. Now from there, it's up to you on the marketing points and strategies we create for you, what you're willing to do. Not everybody's willing, for Mariah's instance that she brought up, to buy a house with green walls. Okay? That's not the end of the world is what I'm saying. But if there's some things you believe are going to make more value in your home, just go ahead and do it. And if it takes 5 more days to get your home listed, it takes 5 more days. Oh. Not the end of the world.
Also, look, we should touch on. So here's the 3 things. I said 2 things I would focus on. I said I would focus on decluttering and making sure everything's clean inside and outside, which is true. The 3rd thing, though, that you need to focus on is the odors. So just make sure.
We did not touch on odors.
Just make sure. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but you're going to want to make sure that there's no odors, and if you're maybe have somebody who will be honest with you, come through and give you an honest opinion if you're not sure. But if you have, pets, or if you are a smoker inside the house, then definitely take some precautions into getting those odors out. There's so many, different ways you can look up online to get odors out, but I would definitely do what you can. If it's real bad, you might even need some new paint and maybe floors.
Paints, floors. That's the hard part with odors. And
your floor is professionally steam cleaned.
And usually that's just something that comes with over time. A lot of individuals that lived in their home for like 20 plus years, these odors just are normal and natural to them. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. But it is one of the harder things to do in our profession to say, hey, you know what? I do smell something in this house.
Because I will say that is another thing that I've seen many, many, many times working with buyers, walking into a house that's the perfect house for them, but they can't get past the odor, or they're like, what if I can't get it out? And they decide to just not buy it. So
right. And those are risks.
Deal.
That's a risk, though, but there's some things you simply can't change. Yeah, we can put Scentsies in. Yeah, we can treat the carpets. Maybe put some paint on the walls.
Don't just cover it with Scentsies, though. Try to get it out, too. Try to get it out and then cover it as well, but don't just do Scentsies.
Everybody's circumstances
then it'll
are different,
just be
though.
like...
Because, like, I mean, I don't have $5,000 to replace flooring at times. You know, so that's what I mean. You just got to assess the damage where damage is due.
Right.
And
if it smells bad, someone will buy it. It just might take a little longer. But someone's going to buy it.
Yeah.
You might take a little pay cut, but someone's going to buy it.
I had a house probably 3 years ago. I did not think, I really didn't think it was going to sell due to the smell. And it had real wood floors in, whatever, but it was just smoked in. And unfortunately, one of the rooms was leased out, and this individual decided to smoke cannabis in it. Seemed like 24/7. And it just stained everything. And the stain of smoke smell was so overwhelming that I could not believe it, because I personally don't even know how that smell is going to be getting rid of. It's rough. And that was the number one complaint with every showing. But simply, there wasn't much we could do about it in the seller's budget. We had to sell it as is. Yeah. But these things do affect home sales. So if that's you, just be aware.
All right. Thank you for watching today. If you watch this video all the way through, hit the thumbs up button, share this video with a friend who is thinking about selling their house soon. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we come on here every single week with new videos, and we'll see you next week.